Hey everyone, what a glorious day. Far too nice a day to be doing laundry or housework. But that's procrastination, isn't it? And why do we procrastinate over being a nice day when in fact that's the perfect day to be doing some laundry? And what's that got to do with our health? See you in a minute. So put your hand up if you've ever procrastinated. Me, you say, me with my lists and my goals and my dreams, procrastinate. Well, let me show you what I've been procrastinating over. Hey everyone, Merry Christmas. Hey everyone, today I'm taking a break from the decking and I'm going to visit a friend of mine who lives down in Dramana. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Victoria, it's one of our seaside resorts and it's just stunning. So having hyperhidrosis isn't a huge amount of fun, but on the whole, I don't think about it. Oh, good morning everybody. I was just asleep. What is sleep? Why do we need it? So there's 4 videos that I've been procrastinating over. I've got the footage, I just have to put it together and upload it to YouTube. We procrastinate over lots of things. We procrastinate over the housework, changing the sheets, doing the dishes, emptying the dishwasher, doing that schoolwork, going to the doctor, seeing friends, going to visit a sick relative, and the list goes on. I mean, who really wants to go and get that colonoscopy, right? And many of you are probably procrastinating and scrolling through YouTube watching videos. So while you're procrastinating, go and hit the subscribe button that you've been meaning to hit for the last couple of months and just haven't got round to it. So go and hit the subscribe button, and while you're there, hit the bell icon and you'll be notified every time I upload a video. And we procrastinate for a whole host of reasons. You know, the job might be too hard or too big a job, so I don't know where to start. Too easy, so I'll leave it till last. I need to work out all the details so I can make it perfect. I don't want to, I don't have to. I don't like being told what to do. It frustrates me, it saddens me, it frightens me. So we do something else, anything else. We do the laundry, we do the dishes, we phone someone, we go on social media. Anything else except what we feel we ought to be doing. And it leaves us feeling guilty. We know we should be doing whatever, but there was so much laundry I had to get done. I couldn't do that. I didn't have time to do that. The lunches had to be made for school tomorrow. I didn't get the car serviced because I spent so much time working on the tax. You know, we can justify not doing what we feel we ought to be doing. But there's that guilt, there's that nagging guilt, because that thing that we're supposed to be doing isn't going to go away. And some people confuse procrastination with being lazy, and it's not being lazy. Lazy is where, oh, I don't want to do it. And that's it, that's the end of the story. But procrastination is about replacing what you should be doing with something else. And there are 2 parts of the brain. See, I told you there was a health reason behind it. The 2 parts of the brain responsible for us replacing one with the other has nothing to do with us being lazy. And the 2 parts of the brain responsible are the prefrontal cortex and the insular cortex. Now, up until 2010, they didn't think that the insular cortex had anything to do with anything. They, in fact, didn't even number it when they were doing diagrams of the brain. Now, the prefrontal cortex, that's the very front of the brain, and that's actually the most recent part of the brain in our evolutionary process. It's responsible for decision making, that line in the sand that you make when you say, this part is acceptable and that part is not. It's where we get organised. It's where we can plan and make decisions about our future, turning our goals into reality. And so we have this insular cortex, which actually has a number of very important structures around it that gets lots and lots of feedback from all the structures, from all of our senses coming in, and it acts as like a hub, a coordinating hub. And it's really closely linked to the amygdala, which is our fear centre. They've discovered that in animals where there is no amygdala, perhaps they've destroyed it in experiments, heaven forbid, that they actually find that these animals behave without any sense of fear whatsoever. And so it's our regulatory system for not doing something and having a genuine sense of fear about it. We are fearful crossing the road. We might call it aware, but it's an element of fear. We don't want to be run over. We're fearful of being run over, and so we're going to take caution when crossing the road. That's our amygdala at play, amongst lots of other structures. The brain is so complex that every system feeds off every other system. But what they're finding is that certain parts of the brain are really responsible for certain things, and that's what they're finding about this insular cortex, is that not only is it linked to the amygdala, but that when dopamine, now you've all heard of dopamine, it's the feel-good hormone. So when we think that something good is going to happen, our prefrontal cortex lights up. The dopamine is triggered and we feel fantastic about achieving our goals, about going and getting things done and all the rest of it. But when we are fearful of an outcome, our insular cortex lights up and dopamine floods the insular cortex. So we actually have this tussle between the two. Do we feel good about something or do we feel fearful about something? And the dopamine will rise in either one depending on which way we feel. And so procrastination is about which part of the brain the dopamine's firing in. So while we're watching YouTube, our dopamine is actually being rewarded while we're watching these videos and we're being entertained, or we're getting the laundry done, so we're getting a job done that's on our list, but we're not going to the doctor for that colonoscopy. But our dopamine's still firing because we're getting a job done. But then it gets to a point where you almost hit panic stations because you know that if you don't get whatever it is started right now, you won't have enough time to finish it, or there will be an adverse consequence of not attending to it. And so there's actually a switch where the dopamine ceases to fire in the frontal cortex and it starts firing in your insular cortex. And so it actually becomes more advantageous to you from a dopamine point of view to actually get started on what you have been feeling guilty over all this time. So what's the thing that triggers the switch? When does this panic stations come into it so that we actually start doing what we've been procrastinating over? That's actually learned, and it's learned through epigenetics. It's learned right from when we're an embryo. Oddly enough, right through everything that we learn. We learn when panic stations is appropriate. So because it's something we can learn, we can also unlearn it. But if it's become a habit, it's going to take a little while to unlearn it. So there are a myriad of self-help books on different techniques of how to overcome procrastination. I'm not going to enter into it now, but the best solution for procrastination is the very action you're procrastinating over. So if you don't want to go to the dentist, the best way to stop procrastinating over going to the dentist is picking up the phone and making the appointment. But what if we live our whole lives procrastinating about things, about putting things off? It might actually be a sign that something else is at play and it's not just procrastination. You know, have you ever been labelled with, oh, she's just lazy, or he's just lazy, or he's a good for nothing? There might be something else at play instead of just procrastination. Procrastination has been linked with things like ADHD. It's been linked with depression. And so levels of dopamine is what they look at. And that's also been linked to Parkinson's disease. You know, and in order to treat Parkinson's disease, they actually give you a dopamine supplement. So if you're worried that your procrastination is actually interfering with your ability to live your day-to-day life, I want you to talk to someone. I want you to go to the doctor, or I want you to see your health professional. I want you to talk to a family member or a teacher or somebody who is going to have your ear. Because it's awful to live in a world where everything is about procrastination, and that might just be a sign that there's something else that we can treat. But if it is just procrastination, the best thing to do is just do it. And when you start to do it, your dopamine levels are actually going to start to rise. So the more you start, the more little bites of the puzzle that you actually take, the more your dopamine will start to rise in your prefrontal cortex, and you'll start to feel good about the thing that you've been putting off. In the words of Rabbi Hillel the Elder, who famously said, "If I am not for myself, who will be for me? But if I am only for myself, what am I?" He also said, "If not now, when?" Thanks for watching.